Welcome to ModMaster and WorkCompEdge Part 1. My name is Tim Coomer and I'll be walking you through this presentation. ModMaster and WorkCompEdge are products of Specific Software Solutions and Sigma Actuarial Consulting Group. Let me begin with an overview of our presentation. First, we're going to be looking at experience rating and understanding how the experience rating formula works. Then we're going to look at the 9 key concepts of mod analysis that we've learned from our clients over the years and that we've developed on our own. Then we're going to analyze a mod and show you how it can be used as part of a sales process by first looking at what you need to do in the initial prospect meeting with our sample company XYZ company. Then we'll actually do a sample mod analysis for XYZ company. And then we'll walk through how to present that analysis to the prospect and how to pose certain questions during your presentation of your analysis that prepares them to receive the answer, which is WorkCompEdge. Finally, we'll close with WorkCompEdge and present that to the prospect, having built up through the presentation of the mod analysis some questions and perhaps some concerns that the prospect will have as we go through the mod analysis and ask them, about how they're doing things, raise the awareness of certain issues within their organization, and then close with WorkCompEdge as the solution. And then finally, if you're not already using ModMaster and WorkCompEdge, we'll show you how to get started with those products. Experience rating in its most basic form is just a comparison of actual loss history to some theoretical benchmark, which is referred to as expected losses. The expected loss piece of that comparison is based on the employer's industry and the type of work, the payroll codes. The comparison typically looks at a 3-year time period, although there are exceptions to that. The basic understanding of experience rating is we're comparing actual loss history to expected for a given time window, which is typically 3 years. For just a brief part of this presentation, we're going to look at the experience rating formula that's utilized by the NCCI states. This is just a brief part of the presentation, so hang with me through this math piece. But this is the piece that does prevent a lot of people from getting more involved in looking at experience rating and mod analysis as an effective sales tool. It's math. You don't have to be an Einstein to understand it, though, and we're going to walk through what some of these variables are in the experience rating formula. First, we have actual primary losses. In NCCI states, primary losses are the first $5,000 of each claim. So every loss that occurs when it's time to compute the mod is split into 2 categories. The first $5,000 of the loss goes into the primary category. Anything above the first $5,000 then goes into what's called an excess category. The amount of lost dollars that wound up in this primary category is a measure of loss frequency. The claims are actually never counted and used in the experience rating process. There's not a claim count that gets involved. Frequency is simply measured by this split rating system where the first $5,000 goes into primary from each loss. The important thing to understand about primary losses is the full amount of the primary loss dollars goes into the mod computation. The actual primary losses is in the numerator of the calculation. The full dollars go into the mod calculation. So primary losses will hurt your mod the most. What can you do about that? Well, in most NCCI states, they have the experience rating adjustment approved, which is where small medical-only claims, those are the injury type 6 claims, get reduced by 70% before that mod computation is completed. This has a huge impact on your experience rating mod and on your clients' mods. So you want to be sure that any claims that you can keep as medical only are kept as medical only. It's significant for helping your clients lower their mod. And as we go through a mod analysis later with XYZ company, we'll highlight that, the importance of that, and then tie that into the importance of return to work programs. So understanding the basic components of the formula ties to understanding mod analysis, and then later how we're going to present that to the client. But that's actual primary losses. Next, we're going to understand why actual primary losses matter. Primary losses hurt the most. You'd rather have one $10,000 claim than 10 $1,000 claims, because the way the split rating system works, if you have a $10,000 claim, $5,000 is primary and $5,000 is excess, but excess losses hurt your mod computation less than primary losses. Keeping losses medical only in ERA states is huge. We really can't overstate that. It's one of the key pieces of information that you can take to your employer clients, the importance of keeping those claims medical only. Okay, now let's move on and look at expected primary losses. Expected primary losses are in the denominator, the bottom portion of the equation here. Remember, experience rating is basically comparing actual losses, which are going to be mostly on the top, to some type of expected benchmark, which is in our denominator. So that's our ratio, our comparison that's going to give us our experience mod, with some other strange factors thrown in there that we'll discuss. But expected primary losses are the theoretical benchmark that we're comparing ourselves to, and they're computed using payroll and some published rates that NCCI publishes for each state, the expected loss rates, which is the ELR, and the discount rate, which is a factor that tells us what percentage of the expected losses are to be considered primary. So that's how we compute the expected primary losses. The primary losses, as I mentioned, are from a table that NCCI publishes, the Experience Rating Plan Manual. In order to find the numbers, you would go to the class code for the payroll and look up the expected loss rate. That computation of payroll divided by 100 times expected loss rate gives you expected losses. Then the expected primary losses, you take the expected losses you just computed times the discount ratio. That's going to give you the expected primary losses as we follow through the computation here. And you can take a look at that and see how that works. But that's basically how the computation works for expected primary losses. Now, why does it matter? Well, changes in published rates can significantly impact expected primary losses. So even if you have some very stable payroll and loss numbers, these rates can be changing from year to year and causing your client's mods to go up or down. This is where we get some unexpected changes in the mod that can be a client issue. If the mod goes up significantly and they've actually had a pretty decent year of losses, you need to be watching for these things. You can use ModMaster to anticipate these types of changes. Also, misclassifications, having payroll in the wrong payroll code, can have a huge impact on the mod because it's going to be affecting this expected loss piece, because if you have a wrong payroll code, you're picking up the wrong expected loss rate and you don't have an accurate mod.